Noise has become the default setting of modern life. Everyone has something to say. Everyone feels the need to post. Everyone reacts in real time. Thoughts are published before they're processed. Emotions go live before they settle. Moments that were once private now sit one click away from public opinion. These days, people are not just documenting their lives, they're staging them. Pain turns into clips. Romance becomes a series. Personal struggles are repackaged as content, optimized for attention. And strangely enough, the more someone exposes, the more authentic they're perceived to be. So, people overshare, they respond immediately, they defend themselves to strangers they will never meet. But while the internet fills up with noise, something essential is quietly fading away. It's not flashy, it doesn't announce itself, you won't see it trending. Yet, when it's missing, the damage is obvious. It's the line between composure and chaos, between being respected and being ridiculed, between control and regret that lives online forever. That is the real focus of this video. In a few minutes, I will explain what this invisible force is, and I'll break down 5 practical ways to rebuild it in a world designed to provoke you. Before we get there, I want to share something personal. I used to think self control was a cage, that it was about repression, about locking away your anger, your sadness, your desires, being good in the way a trophy is good, polished, and lifeless. My grandfather was the personification of this quiet power. He was a man of few words, incredibly steady. As a hyper emotional kid, I found him frustrating. He never got ruffled. When my grandma would worry, he'd simply pat her hand. When I'd bust in, furious about some schoolyard drama, he'd just listen, nod, and say, "Well, now?" I saw it as passivity, a lack of passion. I wanted him to get angry for me, to match my fire, but he never did. Then, when I was 16, the hurricane hit. My dad lost his job, suddenly. Our house was filled with a panic so thick you could taste it. My parents argued behind closed doors. Money was this terrifying ghost haunting every conversation. I felt the foundation of my world cracking, and one night, it boiled over. My dad, stressed beyond measure, snapped at my mom over something trivial, a bill left unopened. He yelled. She cried. It was the first time I had ever seen them like that. The sound of it, the sheer terror of seeing your pillars crumble, I lost it. I stormed into the living room, screaming at my dad. "Stop it. Just stop. You're ruining everything." All my fear converted into white-hot, righteous anger. I was a volcano erupting, convinced my heat could fix the chilling fear in the room. It didn't. It just made everything worse. My dad looked shocked, then ashamed. My mom cried harder. The air was now poisoned with anger, fear, and shame. I ran out, slamming the door, and just drove well, speed to the only place I could think of, my grandfather's small house by the old lake. I burst in, rain-soaked and heaving. I told him everything, my voice shaking with sobs and residual anger. "How can you be so calm all the time?" I finally shouted at him. "Don't you feel anything? The wall is falling apart. How do you just sit there?" He didn't reply immediately. He just stood up, slowly, and said, "Come with me." It was past midnight. He led me out to his old wooden dock. The rain had softened to a mist. The lake was perfectly, eerily black. "Sit," he said. He handed me a fishing rod. I stared at him like he was insane. "Grandpa, I don't want to fish right now." "I know," he said. "Just hold it." So we sat, in silence, for what felt like an hour. My mind was a riot, replaying the fight, the fear, the shame. I fidgeted, sighed loudly, cried a little more. He just sat, still as the lake, his line in the water. And then, in the quiet, I started to feel things. Not just the anger, but the fear underneath it. The deep, terrifying love for my family that was the source of the fear. The helplessness. I felt it all, but the screaming edge was gone. The silent dock held space for it. I looked at my grandfather's profile in the dim light, and for the first time, I didn't see a passive man. I saw a strong one. I saw a man choosing not to add another log to the fire. I saw a man creating a space of calm, not because he didn't feel, but because he felt so deeply that he knew adding his own chaos would be a disaster. His self-control wasn't the absence of feeling. It was the presence of a deeper, more powerful feeling, love, and protection. It was the rudder in the storm, not the abandonment of the ship. Finally, he spoke, his voice barely a whisper over the water. "Your dad is scared, son. He feels like he's failing the people he loves most. Your anger just showed him he's right." It hit me like a physical blow. My passionate outburst wasn't power. It was a reflex. It was the storm itself. His silence, his calm, that was power. The power to absorb, to process, and to act from a place of intention, not from a spasm of emotion. He taught me that night that self-control is not about silencing your heart. It's about giving your mind a moment to catch up. It's the sacred pause between the trigger and the response. And in that pause, you find your true strength. You find the choice. The choice to comfort instead of blame. The choice to listen instead of preparing your defense. The choice to forgive instead of fueling the hurt. We went back the next morning. I didn't have a grand speech, but I looked at my dad, saw the exhaustion and shame in his eyes, and instead of seeing the enemy, I saw a scared man I loved deeply. I walked over and just hugged him. I said, "I'm sorry, I'm here." And he broke down. And that hug, That was the beginning of us putting the pieces back together. That was the power. Not my loud, dramatic explosion, but the quiet, controlled choice to connect. So, if you, like me, have ever seen self-control as a limitation, I invite you to reframe it. See it as your most profound strength. It's the strength to walk away from the online argument that can't be won. It's the strength to smile at the rude customer, protecting your own peace. It's the strength to say, I need a moment, instead of saying the thing you can never take back. It's the strength to keep going on a quiet Tuesday when no one is cheering, simply because you committed to yourself. It is silent. It often goes unnoticed. No one gives you a medal for the anger you didn't express, the temptation you didn't indulge, the harsh word you swallowed and replaced with grace. But you will feel it. It builds a fortitude inside you that no external chaos can ever fully breach. It is the quiet architect of your character, building you, day by day, choice by choice, into someone unshakable. Let me show you the 5 steps to unlock your silent power. You can call it a practical guide to self-control. Step 1. Practice the sacred pause, the bridge between feeling and action. One of the most powerful skills you will ever build is what I call the sacred pause. It's that tiny gap of space between what you feel and what you do. Think about it. When a strong emotion hits, anger, panic, frustration, or even a sudden craving, our instinct is to strike back, to react. But the sacred pause says, don't. Stop completely. One slow breath in through the nose and a longer, slower breath out through the mouth. That moment, that 5-second window, that is where your power lives. Because in that pause, you stop asking, what do I say next? And you start asking, what is the need beneath this feeling? See, anger is rarely just anger. Usually, it's a need to be heard, or a need to protect something that matters to you. Once you see the need, your response changes. Suddenly, the wisest move isn't to shout, it's to listen. This works because it breaks the chain. Trigger reaction, gone. Instead of running on impulse, you are choosing. And over time, that pause becomes a muscle. The stronger it gets, the more you move through life with intention, not just reflex. Step 2. Name it to tame it. Emotional labeling. Let me share a simple trick that actually helps when your emotions feel out of control. Most of us just say things like, I'm angry or I'm stressed. But that's way too vague. It's like telling a doctor, I don't feel good, and expecting a solution. Instead, try this. Name the emotion precisely. So don't just say, I'm angry. Say, I'm feeling rejected. Or, this is helplessness. Or honestly, this is envy mixed with insecurity. Here's why this works. When you put real words to what you're feeling, your brain actually shifts gears. The rational part of your brain turns on, and the emotional alarm system starts to calm down. You are no longer drowning in the feeling, you are looking at it from the outside. And that small shift, that's power. Because once you can name what you're feeling, you can decide what to do with it, rather than letting it control you. Step 3. Design your environment for future you. Most people think discipline is about willpower. It's not. Self-control is actually limited, and if you keep relying on it in the moment, you are setting yourself up to fail. The smarter move is to use your clarity now to help your future self when temptation shows up. That's what it means to design your environment for future you. For example, if you want to spend less time on social media, don't just promise to use it less. Delete the apps from your phone and only access them through a browser. Suddenly, the friction does the work for you. If you want to eat healthier, don't wait until you are hungry and tired. As soon as you get back from grocery shopping, wash and chop your vegetables. When it's time to eat, the healthy choice is already the easy one. And if you know you get reactive in the mornings, don't start your day with emails or notifications. Give yourself the first hour to think clearly before the world starts pulling at you. The real rule is simple. Remove the trigger before it appears. When you do this, self-control stops being a daily battle. It becomes a one-time decision. You save your mental energy for things you can't plan away, and life starts to feel a lot lighter. Step 4. Practice discomfort on purpose, the micro workout. One of the fastest ways to build self-control is to practice discomfort on purpose. Think of it like a micro workout for discipline. You are not trying to be extreme. You are just proving to yourself every day that you can do hard things in small doses. For example, at the end of your normal shower, stay under cold water for 60 seconds. When you sit down to eat, put your phone away and give yourself a full 30-minute meal with no distractions. Or sit in complete silence for 5 minutes. No music, no scrolling, just your thoughts. None of these things are intense. They are just slightly uncomfortable. And that's the point. What matters isn't how hard it is, it's how consistently you do it. Here's why this works. Your brain learns that discomfort isn't dangerous. It's temporary. It passes. So when real discomfort shows up, like a stressful conversation, bad news, or frustration, you don't panic. You don't snap. Your nervous system already knows, I've been here before. I can handle this. Small discomfort, practiced daily, builds emotional strength that shows up when it actually matters. Step 5. Anchor to a why deeper than the want. When you feel the urge to react, pause and anchor your choice to a why that's deeper than the want in front of you. Rules don't hold us together for long. Values do. Instead of telling yourself, I won't snap at my partner, reframe it. Say, I'm choosing to speak calmly because I value respect and connection in this relationship. Instead of saying, I shouldn't skip the gym, shift it to, I'm doing this workout because I value honoring the commitment I made to my health. Same action, completely different energy. Here's why this works. When discipline feels like deprivation, I can't have that, your brain rebels. But when it feels like devotion, I'm choosing this for something I care about, it becomes empowering. You are no longer forcing yourself, you are aligning yourself. And in that moment of pause, the question changes from what do I feel like doing right now to what kind of person do I want to be? Anchor your actions to what you love most. That's where real self-control comes from. The goal isn't to become an emotionless robot, but to become the author of your actions instead of a character controlled by every passing feeling. Start with one small practice, and when you falter, be kind to yourself, because silent power is built in the quiet, consistent return, not in perfection. Cultivate that power and honor the pause. It's not about building a wall around your emotions, but a bridge from your rawest feelings to your wisest actions. In the end, loud reactions are often the weakest form of power, but the quiet strength of self-control can change a person, save a family, and transform a life, starting with yours. If this message resonated with you, don't just watch, act on it. Take one small step today towards becoming the author of your actions. And if you're serious about building that kind of self-mastery, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. I also made a powerful video that dives deeper into life-changing cheat codes to create a life of lasting impact. If you are ready to level up your mindset, your habits, and your results, that's the next video you need to watch. Click the link in the description and continue the journey. Your future self will thank you.